Time Cap'n Hooktail. I don't really like that name. Makes sense because I don't really like the encounter either. It's a very annoying fight, and honestly, it strikes me as the epitome of a just burn it type fight. This fight has so many annoying mechanics. Pretty much every single one that happens is super annoying. There's a lot of area denial, which is never fun in Mythic Plus, and there's a lot of things that just force your character to move too. Not even things that would obviously recommend your character to move, but physically force your character to move as well, and that is definitely never fun, especially if you're playing a healer. But we're going to be taking a look at something that you can do here as a tank that should significantly make this fight easier for you. The goal here is to just simply shorten this encounter. We want to get this thing as short as possible. And I feel like a lot of the difficulty with this fight is simply because everybody has to keep moving and dealing with mechanics that are forcing them to stop DPSing the boss. So ideally, you would not even worry about the relics or the lieutenant or anything that spawns on this fight. Just hammer this boss. And, you know, the route we're doing, a lot of times you don't have heroism on the pull here. So this fight is definitely a lot harder on Tyrannical. In Fortified, it's much easier simply because the health pool is so much lower that you can get it killed usually before things fall apart. So basically those ads come out and they're going to fixate on players, and it's your job as a tank to potentially help them not die to those things. Now, it's certainly the job of the DPS and the healer to deal with them too. There's probably a few different ways that you can make this even easier with their help, but this is from a pug-centric viewpoint. How to make this as easy as possible when you're in a no voice, no communication pug as the tank. One simple thing. Let's take a look at it here. We got some great footage I want to show you. We're just going to listen to it and try to learn from that. Okay, so the trick here is keeping him right against the edge right now, and then making that first breath as wide as possible. Then no matter what, as long as you hit all 4 of these twice, you're gonna get like massive value out of it. You see how wide it is? Like, there's no way that doesn't hit all 4. And then it's gonna happen again immediately. And then just based on where damage is at that point, she won't, it'll be a while before it happens again. Actually, hopefully that does it. No, it was too early or something. But the only reason I can't figure out a way to keep it here is because like there's just too much fire on the ground. So that's kind of the big thing. But we still end up accomplishing the same goals there. And now there's like a big stretch of time where there's not actually any ads spawning for some reason. See, there's no ads, so like we're good now for a while. It's like a good probably 20-30 seconds where there's no mechanics. Other than just move out of fire, basically. That's the trick to making the fight easier, but it doesn't solve the problem permanently. Like, if the fight lasted 20 minutes, it would be almost no impact at all, you know? It's just only good because it allows you to get like a big big increase to uptime on the boss. And then once people get all spread out like that, it becomes really difficult. But Gore Fiends does help a lot on this fight too, so if you're a Death Knight, it's really good no matter what. Okay, so let's walk through the whole thing again just to break everything down piece by piece here. So immediately we drag it all the way to the right. We could actually drag it even further. And the goal here is to create the largest angle possible. The larger the angle, the bigger the cone can be at the mouth of it. And as you see, those mobs actually spawn from a pretty far away area. Really, really important that you get this right angle here. Not only just how far away the boss is from where they spawn, but also coming from this top angle, because these two actually come out slightly ahead of these two. If you're not in the northern part of this and you're not facing this pitch here, you will actually not hit all 4. And this first set is crucial because it gets all the mechanics out of the fight for the beginning of the fight. And you know, sometimes you'll have bloodlust obviously, but you definitely have potions and major CDs here. So you definitely want everybody just fully focused on DPSing the boss, just making sure that they don't have to worry about any mechanics for the next like 15-20 seconds. This is absolutely paramount to increasing your kill rate of this boss. And so you'll see like there is no reality that could exist where these mobs are not in this, right? They are so comfortably in this, it's actually like insane. They have a good like probably 10 seconds of walking before they run out of it. And getting this first one is really important, but the second one is just as important too, because then I don't know if it's because of the boss's health pool, but then it enters this big stretch of time where there's just no mechanics and the boss almost feels like it's phasing even though nothing's really happening. It opens up this window where you're just doing nothing but DPS and dodging fire. And obviously, you know, the fire can still be dangerous, but it's basically not a fight at that point. And so the second set's a little bit harder to time out here, and you see the boss is actually doing the breath well before the ads spawn, and I'm not exactly sure why or how that works. There's times when there's variables here where all 4 of them are actually out before this breath is over, but still just anticipate, you know where they're coming from, just try to hit both of them anyway. And even though we are aiming at the right direction, I think it's just simply because those 2 were not out. Yeah, you could actually see those 2 were just not even out yet, but it doesn't matter because at least right now in this footage we have another one back to back. So quickly easily position, and you know, you'll hit them here, and that's it. Now we have this big stretch of time here where there's actually no ads again for a while. But I do want to offer one other tip on this fight that I think a lot of people might not be thinking about. So now at this point, we're much further in the middle of the room. You know, like I said, I can't keep the boss there. There's just no way. There's just way too much fire. There would actually be no spots for the DPS to fight. So you do have to drag the boss. And the closer you get to the ship, it becomes infinitely harder to hit these. And like I said, there's obviously ways where the DPS can help you with this by kind of gathering them in the front and then just moving out of the breath themselves. Very unlikely in a no voice pug. So you as a tank, you're going to do the brunt of this. But here's the big tip here. So you see the ads, and what I would definitely recommend, if you can get any type of organization on your DPS, just try to get them all on one side here, because they fixate on players, right? So what we have right now, we have all three of the ads fixated on this side of the boss, right? So they're going to cut across the room in a way that we can predict and we can lead the breath. And that's incredibly important because this breath can miss. It's very, very easy to miss. That's why we want that huge, wide kind of swath there covered in those first two, because there's no way that can miss. What I'm saying is, like, it's actually possible to hit the ads and them not die just because of them moving out of it kind of at the last second. So what you need to do, you need to lead these mobs. You need to stop them from running out of it. And there's a variety of ways we can do that. Obviously, you saw the Gore Fiends as well, things like stun and root and ring of peace and slow D&D and all these different things you have options for. But it's honestly better to just get good at this. And you see them all going in one direction. So we just turn the dragon and we just lead the breath into it. And as you see, I'm going to make that turn right here. And then no matter what, we also get a stun from the Demon Hunter. But regardless, either way, all three of those are dying. And now we basically just put ourselves in an amazing position, because now this boss is at 20% and we're not even halfway across the room yet. But like about this time, when like you keep having to drag this boss this direction, this is when things start to get really out of control. It becomes really difficult. And you know, a big play like that with Gore Fiends is just really the icing on the cake there, but it's not needed at this point. You know, you just kill the boss and just DPS are going to have to fend for themselves. That's why I said in the footage, you know, like if this fight went like, if this was a 20-minute fight, that first 30 seconds would be completely inconsequential, because the fight eventually devolves into this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It will happen. So that's why I said it's kind of just like a just burn kind of boss. You know, like you can't do these mechanics well enough to ever actually feel like you've mastered this. You'll never have like a god tier pull of this where everybody's just in the exact perfect position. They're stacking, they're spreading, they're moving. It's never going to happen in a pug. So this fight is just the quintessential DPS race type fight. And like I said, the route I'm doing, you know, oftentimes has trouble getting lust here. There's absolutely no reason you should not be using lust in the middle of this fight, though. Absolutely, if it's up, use it. But whatever you do, you always just want to kind of put the DPS in a position where they can help make this boss as short as possible. And once you do that, it becomes really easy. So it's in a dungeon that's pretty approachable right now. So just make the right play, make the smart choice, give your DPS the potential. Hopefully they'll reward you. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next video.